How dare I start a podcast the traditional way, which is, welcome to the movie Propcast, guys. Thank you for listening. We're happy to be back. I'm Justin. This is Tyler. And today's episode, we'll be doing The Mummy.
That was way too much. That was way too much.
I laid it on a little thick there. But I you know what?
So
I kind of like it. I think we're going to roll with that. So, thank you for listening, guys. And right now we are going to do the episode on The Mummy. As nominated by Tyler. This one is a classic, and it falls in our wheelhouse of movies at the end of the 1990s. This movie came out in 1999, and before we get too deep into it, let's just stop. All right, let's just address everything. I know we were back. Obviously, our last episode was our first one back in a little while. So we're going to be putting out content pretty consistently every 2 weeks until we can get our bearings. And maybe we can up the release. Maybe if not full episodes in between, maybe some sort of content where we break down some new movie trailers or stuff like that. But we're going to try to find a way to get some more content in your ear holes, which is really
if you deserve it.
Oh, I think they're deserving. If they can hear this, they deserve it. If they can't, everyone who can't hear this, they don't deserve it. But I would like them to deserve it somehow. So if there's a way we could get them to deserve it, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Maybe some sort of marketing team we could hire. I don't know. But on our last post that we put out, you can see on our social medias, it's at Movie Propcast on Instagram, TikTok, wherever social medias are sold. We got a comment that said it would be cool if we brought on some actual collectors, right? Which would be, I mean, that's always been in the cards for us. We've always kind of wanted to do that. But we always kind of just wind up doing the episode anyway. But we gotta plan a little bit farther ahead, and I think we will be doing that as we go in the future. Our first few episodes, we had a great guest. It was Heidi Nazer-Fink. She was amazing with the movie The Men in Black. We did that.
That was actually really awesome. That was
awesome.
Really good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's on us. We'll get back to getting some more great guests. But in the meantime, we're gonna slide right in to The Mummy, and this is a Brendan Fraser classic.
Dude, the first thing that popped up, like, I was thinking about this when I hopped out of the shower. There's, like, a few people who I wish I could alter the time stream and just tweak their career a little bit. And Brendan Fraser and Matthew Lillard are at the top of the list. Like, if I could they both probably went through things, like, stuff happened. Matthew Lillard, I think it was just career choices. Brendan Fraser, I think, had some behind-the-scenes stuff going on.
Right.
But if I could just give, like, there's a solid 10 years where we could have had, like, 4 more movies from both of them, and I'd be completely happy.
Yes. Brendan Fraser in this movie. Real quick, should we just declare it? Is The Mummy peak Brendan Fraser? Like, when you think Brendan Fraser, is it The Mummy? Is that...
It is, but I want to say Bedazzled, but only like 4 other people have ever seen that movie. No,
I've seen
it's got to be.
I can say no way. Confidently no.
But it's so good. It's
good. Definitely different. It's different. Yeah.
No,
it's not The Mummy.
This is no. The thing is, this is 100% peak Brendan Fraser. I feel like he had it in him to do something even better. Is what I was getting at before. But 100%, this is easily peak.
That's fair. And it was weird. I mean, obviously, I don't know exactly what happened. Like you said, there's obviously things that we didn't see behind the scene. He completely disappeared off the face of the earth for decades, right?
Yes.
And he's slowly resurfacing now, and we're seeing him in projects. What is it? He's the robot in. I don't even know the name of it.
Doom Squad Patrol. Or Doom Patrol, one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Seeing him in that role is very different. I've been watching Titans. I haven't gone over to the other show, but they do appear in Titans as well. DC Titans on I think it's on HBO Max. But it is very different to be like, holy crap, that's Brendan Fraser. He's back. Like, because I honestly almost, I'm not gonna say I forgot he existed, but it's weird for someone who was at the forefront. Like, he was the guy when The Mummy came out. He was the guy, and I didn't realize it. Now I'll say it out loud. Hey, I thought he was a good actor. I thought he was fun. He's a good-looking dude. In this
he was
movie,
gorgeous. Don't even hold back. He was gorgeous.
I was like, I don't remember him being that good-looking. I always thought he, like, especially now, you look at him now and you're like, oh, that's Brendan Fraser. But back then, a strapping young lad. But he was really good in this movie.
Yeah, he was really good, and it's like it's just crazy because he even mentioned like people feeling the way I do, where I'm like, man, I really wish he hadn't taken that time off. It became like a thing on the internet, and he's attributed that to like helping him get through his hard times, and his like rejuvenation now is partly due to people feel the same way I do, where they're like, he's incredible to look at and to act, and we just miss him.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of years wasted, I feel like, of great acting from him that I thought, we'll never get. But hopefully he keeps it up, and we keep seeing a lot more of him. But Brendan Fraser in this movie is Rick O'Connell. Rachel Weisz is Evelyn Carnahan. And then John Hannah, that sounds like, isn't that like the animal handler? No, it's Jack Hanna. That's Jack Hanna I'm thinking of. No, John Hannah is Jonathan Carnahan in this movie as well. So there's one thing real quick before we get too deep. And we just talked about it before the podcast because you said something that I resonated with me because I thought the exact same thing. You were like, hey, Billy Zane, who did he play in this movie? He played Imhotep, right? And Billy Zane. And I was like, dude, I know exactly what you're saying because when I watched this movie, again, like before this podcast, before I made my notes to it, I still to this day thought that was Billy Zane. I had to look it up. I went on IMDb. His name is Arnold Vosloo. I had no idea. This man is a spitting image of frickin' Billy Zane, especially in that time period. Like, I swear they wanted Billy Zane, and they settled for this guy, which feels bad because he was good in this movie. But, he was Imhotep.
And I'm looking right now. He has a career. Like, he's done some stuff. He's a notable person, and in my mind, he was just that other Billy Zane, and I feel bad.
Yeah,
it's not good.
You should feel bad, but I promise you're not the only one. Like, obviously you and I did that, so I can't imagine we're the only ones out there, right? I mean, there's probably like a whole support group for people who thought that was Billy Zane. So yeah, also, I mean, if you ever meet Billy Zane, definitely don't go, "I loved you in The Mummy." He's probably gotten that before too.
Don't do that. Also, we have Jonathan Hyde making his second appearance here. He was also the dad on the dad in Jumanji.
Yes. So and the hunter in Jumanji as well. Yes,
the hunter and the dad in Jumanji. Yes. So we got him coming back in this one.
Not too many. This is our first Brendan Fraser, though, I'm pretty sure.
It is, and I hope we do a few more.
We'll see. That's if you nominate Bedazzled in the future.
100%. It's already on my list. You didn't look?
Okay. No, I haven't seen it. No, eventually we will open it up for obviously you listeners to be able to pick an episode or two. I say or two like it'll stop. No, we want more inclusion.
That's
you
it.
Guys,
you're done.
Obviously,
you're cut off.
You get one, and if you mess it up, it's over. No, but I think that's going to be the beauty of it. Obviously, right now we're in our wheelhouse. We're picking movies that we love. However, I would love to catch something on the first watch, right? Like some movies that I've never heard of, some movies that people love, and it could be anything. Like, I mean, we did The Notebook, which honestly, again, I'll stand by it. Probably our best episode, all right?
Me too. Like, honestly, that's going up. That's going up in a case.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So no, we're down to do anything. I think the one thing we really haven't dabbled in, and there's some jump scares in this movie, but we really haven't done a horror movie. And I think
thought we were just waiting for October.
We'll probably get to that point, I think, in Halloween, where I have a few on my list that I know. I'm not a big horror movie guy. I have 500 movies behind me right now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can watch the full video on our YouTube channel, the movie Propcast. Please subscribe if you're there. But I have 500 movies back here, 500 plus. I think I have like one or two horror movies, and it's not even because, like, it's It, but the new It's, because I thought those were pretty good. I don't know. I really like those. And I think the other one's Saw. The first Saw. I know it's gross and it's gruesome, but something about the first Saw movie.
The first Saw was revolutionary. I don't fault you for having that.
It got me. I was like, man, that's nuts. But I really typically don't like the gore and stuff like that. But anyway, back to The Mummy, where we're shredding bodies apart with scarabs.
Yes. I don't like gruesome, but The Mummy.
Well, I will say they did it very tastefully. There wasn't a lot of blood, right? It was just like when people were just getting dismantled and consumed by scarabs, which, again, another thing I looked up when I was younger was like, can scarabs even do that? Like, is that a thing? Like, they're freaking land piranhas. That's insane.
I left this movie with it gave me a thing because seeing the scarabs, I had to look away from the screen whenever they were under someone's skin. Like I just couldn't do it. It just I had like a complex about it, and they did a really good job with it. Even though the CGI it was 99, it was not amazing, but the scarabs, man.
Yeah, I mean, put yourself. That's 21 years ago, or 23 years ago, right? So it's pretty good. Again, it falls into those categories where we go back, and I know pretty much every episode when we watch a movie from this. Nothing's been egregiously bad. I know that there are movies in this franchise specifically, not so more this movie, but the movies that they've made afterwards where it somehow gets worse.
Yes.
Yes. I won't name drop anybody, but Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah, and if in movies following this, it gets weird. But in this one in particular, and I think it lives on, and it became a franchise because what they did in this movie was so good. Even with, I don't know, it didn't seem like there was too much going on. Obviously, you have to have CGI because the one thing that creeped me out the most about this movie is that when they use the CGI on the dude's face, where he's opening his mouth so big. I don't know why that was like one of the most terrifying things as a kid. Was just like seeing people's face, like looks like a human. I think at that point he was almost a human, Imhotep, and just seeing his chin just drag way beyond what it's supposed to, and I'm like, oh, that's me. So yeah, you have your scarabs under the skin. I was fine with that for some reason, but when people's face go long, I don't know. Like if you're not green, like the mask, if you don't have the mask on, I don't. It's weird if you look like a human being and you're doing that.
So what about the vampires in I Am Legend? Because he did
weird.
A couple of those.
Those are weird.
Too. Okay.
Yeah. The jaw goes real big. I don't know why that's unsettling for me. I don't know.
Okay.
That's
just people
one of my weird things. No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Okay.
I don't want to see that. One of the most haunting things for me as a kid was, I think it was Ripley's Believe It or Not had a TV show for a while.
Yeah, of course.
Or it might have been Guinness World Records or something. The lady who could pop her eyeballs out.
Oh, that was Ripley's. That was Ripley's. Yeah.
Terrifying. That haunted me as a kid. I was like, I don't know why. Like, I shouldn't see that much of your eyeball. I don't want to see it. Put them back in.
So that's actually a disease too. Like people get that and they can't control it. Like it's a thing that we read about in books and stuff. And it's that sounded really pretentious.
Yes, it's a disease. They're living with eye poppage. Okay, they're not people who pop their eyes out. They're living with eye poppage.
Anyway, if it is a disease that you could come across, or a condition, I should say, not a disease. It's a condition you could come across. We got off the rails there.
I know we're all over the place, but I got at least you're learning about us. Okay, you're learning what scares us. So now you know what to do.
But speaking of rails, rails. You mentioned this while I was texting that I was watching the movie, and you mentioned Orlando and the Mummy.
Yeah.
For those of you who have not been to Universal Studios Orlando, there is a ride for the Mummy, and you're wondering why the heck. Like, everything from early 2000s is pretty much gone, except the Mummy, and that is because it might be the single greatest ride in the United States. It's
easily their best ride. If they get rid of that, I'm out. I'll probably never go again, right? And granted, some of their new stuff's amazing. They got the new Harry Potter stuff that they got going on. They have the Jurassic World ride. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The Mummy will never get old, though. I could ride that 100 times over, and it lives forever. It's amazing.
So there are times where my wife and I, Alyssa, would go, and this was like early when we first moved into Florida. So it was like 2016. Even before that, we would go occasionally from New York. And it was this weird time where people didn't want to go on the Mummy because the Tom Cruise Mummy hadn't come out yet. So the Mummy was just old. It was just old. So we would be able to get on the Mummy, walk through the entire line, get off, and there was still no one behind us, and just walk back through, and we would ride it like 7 times. It's such a great ride.
Yeah,
it's such a great ride.
It is, like you said, people think it's dated or something, and to me it's a relic. Like, it needs to go in the Hall of Fame of roller coasters because it's an experience. And you said it too. You didn't realize it, but like. After we watched the movie again recently, you're like, the ride does such a good job of like encapsulating just the movie like in a quick form, right? Like you go in and it's like, are you insane? Get out of here. The curse, it's real. And it's like a whole, I mean, obviously I just said that. If you've ridden the ride, I've just triggered something in your brain.
Yes.
But it's awesome. We friggin', Kristen and I, we joke about it all the time. We're like, every time Universal comes up, we're like, are you insane? Get out of here. It's like, yeah.
And the best part is like, as you're going through the ride, you have like these little video snippets of Brendan Fraser like being a jerk to the crew and stuff like that, and it's just cool. And you get a bunch of props actually from the movie. They have a lot of molds and props, and I'm a person who gets lost in ambiance really well, and they just make you just feel like you're not in Universal Studios for that like 10 minutes. It was really good.
Yeah. So again, if you're in Universal Studios Orlando, definitely hit that ride up. And if you want to actually ride a ride and not really wait in a long line, you could ride it over and over countless times.
It's got to wait now. It's getting popular again. Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny is they've updated every other ride. Jurassic World got an update. Everything. Harry Potter got an update. And Harry Potter's only been out for a little while. They got an updated ride already. But this one is just like, the Tom Cruise movie came out, but we're not going to touch this one. It's like, we're not updating anything. All right.
I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah. Which also, I've never seen the new Mummy. I don't know if you have it or not. I've seen the reviews. Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan, but I do. I mean, I wanted to watch it. It just never came across my desk, of movie watching, because I have a desk where movies just slide across. And
for me, it seemed like a mixed chance to give like a younger star like a launching pad, like that. Like reviving the Mummy would have been a great job to put some young guy in. Not that. I mean, I'm not calling Tom Cruise old, but he had an established career.
He's like 60.
Yeah, but he didn't need a new action movie at that time. So
it did look like, you're watching the preview, it did look like Mission Impossible meets the Mummy, and you're like, why? Yeah. Why is this happening? Like, because he's like, I'm not gonna be in a movie if I can't do my own stunts, and he's like, I don't know. It just looked like a Mission Impossible trailer, and then all of a sudden there's like some mummy demon walking down the road, and you're like, why is this happening? The worlds don't mesh. He had a movie franchise when the Mummy the first time came around, and it's still Mission Impossible. It was still Mission Impossible. So don't reboot it with the guy who also had a movie that was competing with the original. Like, it's not worth it. It's ridiculous.
I never even thought of it that way, and that's amazing. That's so good.
It's and the fact, kudos to him, the longevity of his career. Brendan Fraser is rolling over in his career's grave right now, looking at that. But he's trying to resurrect it. He's trying to pull it back out. But I mean, Tom Cruise is eternal. I don't know what it is. He doesn't age. I just said he's 60. You're probably thinking I'm lying. Look it up. He's damn near 60. It's insane.
His career is to the point. I tried to think of an analogy, and no one else has a career. I could only use Tom Cruise again. I'd be like, that's like trying to reboot Men in Black, and I was like, I could only say Tom Cruise again because he's the only person from '99 still acting.
Yeah, it's insane. Okay, so I just looked it up just to confirm. 2 weeks ago, he turned 60. He actually is clinically and legally 60.
Clinically?
That's crazy to me. All right. Anyway, moving on. We should probably talk about this movie instead of Tom Cruise, but we could do a whole podcast on just Tom Cruise doing shenanigans.
We really could, and we might have to. But set the scene. We start off ancient Egypt, and of course, there's a very beautiful woman married to the king, or the pharaoh. I'm sorry, the pharaoh.
Yes, and you can say the name because I ran down the list to try to name the characters in this movie, and you told me that I wasn't very cultured, and I was like, "Damn it, man! I was trying." I didn't say
the words. You weren't very cultured, but it was Pharaoh Seti. Yeah, Seti the First. He's married to Anaxamun. She falls in love with one of his priests, Imhotep. I have a question. Why were all of Imhotep's priests painted gold?
I don't understand that. No, that was weird.
I didn't.
And they were just weird individuals too. Like, what were they doing? I don't know.
Like any other time you think of priests, they're in robes or something like that. Imhotep's priests were half naked, and they were all just painted gold. And they
didn't want
hairless.
them standing out. We want these people we want you to look at these people and be like, maybe they're statues, maybe they're background people, whatever. They're irrelevant. Just don't look at them. You're looking at them too much.
So Anaxamun and Imhotep start having an affair. So Seti finds out they're having an affair because he comes in and he sees that Anoxinamun's body paint is smeared, and
it's
my
a
first
little
thought
smeared,
is,
right?
Yeah, my first thought is she could have just rubbed against a wall the wrong way, like, and he's just like,
she could have got bit by a mosquito, right? And been like, and like that's her shoulder.
And he's like, someone touched you. It's like, what?
Talk about insecurity, huh? No.
So immediately, her and Imhotep kill him. And it just sets off this wide chain of events where they kill Anoxinamun. Imhotep's like, I'll revive you. So I thought this was weird because his first thing wasn't like, all right, I'm going to get you out and we're going to run away. It is, you're going to die. I'm going to run away, but I'll bring you back to life. Like, they've done this before? Like,
yeah. It is weird. And she's just down. She's like, no, yeah, that's okay. Totally logical, right? I'll take this. I'll just die.
Yeah. Plan A is that you'll die and I'll bring you back to life. So doesn't go well. The ritual is interrupted. Imhotep is killed. Anoxinamun is not revived. And there is a book of the damned, or the black book that is buried, obviously, just with everything. They mummify Imhotep, and then we flash forward
actually, let me clear this up. They didn't mummify him, right? They just threw his body in the sarcophagus with a bunch of scarabs.
Yes.
Plot hole, real quick. We see later in the movie, and any time throughout the movie, the scarabs are just downright savages, and they can devour a human in seconds.
Yes.
But they go on to say that he died a slow death in the sarcophagus because they had scarabs in there. I don't know if it's like evolution of the scarabs, maybe down the line they're a little more advanced, but if they're going, I mean, I would go out like that. I would choose that. You know what I mean? That's a quick.
I'm just saying, compared to getting my head cut off, getting my tongue cut off, and then scarabs thrown in my container, I'm going to call that a slow death. I'm gonna say.
Okay. In theory, yes, it is a slow death. But then when you later on in the movie watch a man get devoured in just like 3 seconds flat and he's skeleton,
yes,
then I'm like, maybe that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is crazy. But anyway, that was something I was just nitpicking because that's my job here. I'm a nitpicker.
So, so we fast forward and we see Rick O'Connell, Brendan Fraser's character, an American in the middle of Egypt, and he's a part of it looks like not an excavation crew, but they're trying. He's a treasure hunter, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he became one, like because there was that scene, and then there was a 3-year time jump. I don't know what was going on in that scene. There really wasn't an explanation why they were there. I would assume that's what they were doing. But everything I saw was that it said that he was part of he was like a French colonel or a colonel in the French army or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. But I don't know what they were doing there. You know, it's very strange. So 3 years goes by and he's obviously a totally different person. He's not with that crew anymore. So yeah.
I do have to say he should have died in that opening scene.
Oh my God! Yeah. They were pretty chill about just following him around, right? Like on horses and just like toying with them.
Like he's a part of like a firing line, and there's natives on horseback shooting rifles at him. Everyone in his line dies, and he somehow runs away. He's chased down by 5 of them. They don't shoot him while they're chasing him. Then they stop. They're about to shoot him. Then they get scared because they see a statue of Anubis behind him, and then they just run away.
I love that they're shooting to kill. They're shooting to kill the entire time, and then they finally square up with him and have him pinned, and they think about it. They're like, wait a minute.
I said that too, and my wife was just like, no, they're afraid. I'm like, they had 45 seconds to shoot this.
You know how fast a bullet goes? I could shoot it. He could be shot in less than a second, and then you can run, leave. Right?
Yes, exactly. Oh God, it was a lot. So like you said, 3-year time skip after that. O'Connor's in prison, and then we meet Evie, who is very beautiful, very ditzy. Holy crap, that opening scene gave me anxiety.
Yeah, who's stacking? who's making a library with shelves that aren't like bolted or cemented to the ground, right? Like, what is that? Why would you stack your shelves that could easily fall over like you're playing dominoes?
Dominoes? Yes. Why are you reaching over on a ladder that is not secured? Because, like, normally when you think of a library, you think of ladders that are attached to bookshelves
like
that
rollers,
roll.
right?
Yeah. This is not. This is just a regular two-pointed ladder on the ground that you could... I straight up thought it was like a Charlie Chaplin sketch. Because she ends up on the 2 points, and then she's like...
Super slapstick.
Yeah. And then she destroys an entire library, doesn't get fired. I don't even understand.
Let's jump forward, because there's one thing that'll get to. Obviously, they go out there, they see Rick, he's held captive, he looks disheveled and homely. And he also just a little bit crosses the line there. It's in 1999, but he gets his sweet little kiss for funsies.
Dude, why was she not upset?
I mean, come on, she loved it because that's what the writers said. The writers thought she loved it.
I immediately, any other woman, it doesn't matter if you're Brendan Fraser in 1999, if you just grab a woman and kiss her, she's slapping you no matter how hot you are.
Right. That's fair. That's probably fair. It is. The thing is, and he's not even like good looking Brendan Fraser at that point, because you don't see that until after the most ridiculous scene in the movie, where he's literally hung. Rick O'Connell is hung, falls like 10, 15 feet.
Yes.
His neck apparently doesn't snap. And apparently just because your neck doesn't snap, you're A-okay. You're perfect. Nothing else wrong happened. And she winds up saving them. Evelyn winds up saving him by just bribing or bartering with the guy who is in control there and on a share of the treasure that they would eventually find, because he knows where it is. It's hilarious to me that literally the next scene, he just cleans himself up. No bruises, no nothing. He's just good to go, bro. He's beautiful after that.
Oh, yeah.
What an insane
wearing
scene.
all white. It was great.
I've never been hung before, but I gotta imagine it'd hurt a little bit.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Your entire body weight on your neck? 100%.
Yeah. But just because your neck didn't snap, though, you're good. It's okay.
Yeah. That's it.
That's the logic.
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Brendan Fraser probably had he was in good shape, probably had a nice strong neck, but I don't know. The logic there doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel right. I'm glad he didn't die, though, because the movie would have been pretty sad.
Yeah,
if that
15-minute movie.
Get him? Yeah, that's it. He knows where the city is. Dead. Okay, well, what do you guys want to do now, I guess?
And speaking of, there was only two ways to get to the city. Brendan Fraser or the map, which Evie's boss tried to intentionally set on fire, and I would fire that man. This man is a curator at a library / like an exhibit owner, and tries to purposely set on fire the only map of its kind because too many fools tried to chase gold. This thing is a relic.
So that's what he says at the time, but later on in the movie, you realize he's like a figurehead of like the people protecting it. But it is like I would probably throw hands at this guy.
100%.
Initially, I'd be like, dude, this is my out, man. I'm getting all this treasure, right? All this booty, and that's the thing. I can say booty here. That is applicable. Well, they're not pirates.
No, you probably can't say booty, but
that's
either way, you're right.
Yeah, there's some booty out there, and they're trying to find it. Mummy's booty is booty too, I guess. That's the quote. If you take anything from this podcast, it's that.
So one thing that I realized, like throughout, so eventually they make it to the archaeological site. They get to Imhotep's grave, and I think the charm of the Mummy is that it doesn't take anything too seriously. Like throughout this whole thing, they could die at any moment, but the entire thing still feels like a comedy throughout all the stuff that they're doing.
I think that's the beauty of Brendan Fraser, right? He's like he can do the action stuff, but he's like pretty good comic relief too. Like he's never too serious. You're never in a moment where you're like, oh my God, man, like this is like a dire situation. He'll crack a freaking one-liner hanging from a rope. Like what is that?
And you and I both talked, like we didn't see the newest Mummy, but if we put 1999 Tom Cruise in that role, it's a completely different movie because he takes it too seriously. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It would be really strange to see him like in that. Yeah. There's no comedy from Tom Cruise.
No, I'm picturing the shootout on the boat where he's like cracking jokes while he's trying to reload his gun and stuff like that. And it felt fun, and you don't get that the other way.
No, Tom Cruise is like, well, everybody's dead. He's going to kill everybody. Like, it's over. Yeah, he would just get the job. Benny, who coincidentally is the only other person who was there 3 years ago, knows how to get to Hamunaptra. He just happens to be there. I think it's crazy to me that, obviously because plot and because the writers, that they're both trying to go at the same time. You know, he was held captive 3 years later. They both just happened to sync up at the same time on the same boat. Oh, what are you guys doing? Just going to look for some treasure. Oh, you too? Like, it's like a thing that happens every week. Like, you going on the tour to Hamunaptra?
Benny was the worst kind of person. Like, there's some movies that they throw in characters you wish would die right away. I don't know why Benny wasn't shot 400 times in this. Like, if I was Brendan Fraser, I'm shooting Benny, like, on site 3 separate occasions.
Yeah, I would say for sure. I don't know why he didn't just do... Like, Rick O'Connell should have just blasted his face off, right? Especially after 3 years. I don't know. The way he left him to die... That's all the incentive you need, right? Like, it's 1920. What are you going to do? You just throw them overboard, and what are they going to, like, a Forensic Files episode on you? I don't think so. You're going to be okay, you know? Just get them out of there.
So I have a question. So early on in the movie, one of the guys, a constant thing in these movies is, like, too much greed. So one of the guys goes and he starts throwing scarabs in his pockets. And a scarab breaks out. Because the scarabs, we don't realize this early on, but the scarabs are in these, like, jewel type of shells. The shell could break open, and then that's when the scarab can do its work. Could you cut a scarab out of yourself?
Could I do it?
Yeah.
I mean, if I knew what they did, yeah.
No, so you see something in your foot, under your skin, working its way up. Do you
as long
grab
as it's
a knife?
not moving as fast as it was in the movie, because I'd just be like, it'd be here, and I'd cut, and it'd be up at my elbow. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't. It was moving so fast. I don't know.
Whether you're successful or not isn't my thing. It's, do you think you would make the incision, like you would go for it?
If I had a knife, yeah, I feel like you'd have to, right? Especially knowing that what we've seen.
Well,
you know,
I mean, he didn't. The guy leading their caravan didn't. Like, he just ran away screaming.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird move. At the very least, I'd be punching it, you know, like trying to squish it inside of me, which probably wouldn't be good for the bloodstream. But either way, better than it ripping out of your better ripping out of your skull. That's probably the better move.
Yeah,
but okay. I mean, obviously, there's more in the movie we got to get to, but real quick, I just want to say we are getting to the point where we're going to do the draft, and we did decide. I want to declare it now. We did decide there's so many props in this movie. We're each going to pick 4, so there's going to be 8 picks in the movie prop draft that's coming up here pretty soon. But was there any more notes on this film before we get into the draft? Because I know there are some stuff we got to say about the actual items in this movie.
I do want to say that I liked how Imhotep was an Egyptian version of Dracula. I wrote that out specifically. If you get the whole Dracula turning into vampires, the whole thing with the seducing women, the stealing people's youth and rejuvenating himself with it.
Yeah.
It was, freaking Imhotep was turning into sandstorms and like going through keyholes as grains of sand in this movie.
Was really weird.
It was so weird, and I honestly it was kind of cool, but it was really weird at the same time.
His progression, I thought, was really like something you don't normally see in the movie. Like, I mean, yeah, you got it's Dracula-esque, but it is weird to see somebody go from bone to frickin' getting flesh. Like, they didn't just say like next scene he's a person. Like, yeah, I love how it like progressed. Like, every time you saw him, there was some more pieces on him, and you're like, ooh, that's interesting. And it's disgusting, but it was well done, I think, for the 1999.
I feel bad for that first guy, the one who wore glasses. I called him Velma. He's in my notes as Velma because immediately he was like, my glasses.
My glasses.
I can't see anything without my glasses.
How blind do you got to be? I mean, listen, I actually own a pair of prescription glasses, but it's not because I wasn't told to buy them. They were like, you probably could. It was one of those. So I did it, and I don't like wearing them. I don't like it just feels weird.
Yeah.
I can see, right? I don't know if obviously they don't have contact lenses back then.
Huh? No, I'm leaving them.
No, like, I know you're leaving them, but this man actually just couldn't see. He was
debilitated. See. Yeah.
He was completely blind. He couldn't take a step. Is that I don't know, man.
So for the
you
glasses
gotta put some goggles on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say for the glasses that he wore, his prescription shouldn't have been that bad. For how he reacted, he would have had to have, like, lenses that thick.
Yeah, they had to be, like, 2-inch thick glasses. Yeah.
Yeah, for what he had, he should have just gotten up and run away.
Yeah, that's definitely tough.
How come Emotep's vision was so good if he took the worst set of eyes on the team?
I wrote that down. I did write that down. How is he just so good with these eyeballs? Like, I guess to him, he didn't have any, so he's like, I can see everything clearly now. He might not have had perfect vision, although he was moving around like he did. But it is weird that he takes the most horrific eyeballs in the entire movie, like just awful, and can see perfectly fine. You're right. That didn't really make any sense. But magic, though. The dude's literally coming back from the dead. I don't think we can really question whatever's happening inside of his... He's rejuvenated, so maybe it rejuvenates the eyes as well with the powers. I don't know. I'm trying to make some excuses here, but yeah, no, that's a plot hole for sure.
And one last note I have, I don't know if you catch this. At one point, Rick is in a fight with a bunch of mummies. He kicks one in the crotch, like straight up kicks a mummy in the balls, and it's effective. Like it debilitates a mummy for a second.
I'm just saying, if I lived my whole life with a pair of cojones and I became a mummy, right? Like I'm dead, and you could wake me up 50 million years from now, and I could be just bone. And if I see that foot come up in between that area, I'm still going to react as if. You know what I mean? You don't just lose that. That's called muscle memory. All right, it's. I'd be scared no matter what. All right, that's a bold move. But you brought up the fight. I did think it was interesting how, not interesting. Again, this is just how you have to write it, or else he's dead. But they're chasing everybody down, right? The armed guards or whatever, the armed mummies. They literally have swords and shields and armor and everything. And then when they finally get to good old Rick. It's a one-on-one every time. You can just see them in the background. They're just standing there like, all right, now you go. Oh, you didn't get it? All right, I'm going to step in. All right, no, I didn't get it. Now you like, you know what I mean? They could all just swarm him and he's dead. But,
yeah,
you know, that's that 1999 fighting logic. The fight choreography was not spectacular, but it was still a good movie. I thought it was overall a fun movie.
It was better by the time the independent Scorpion King came out. Not the sequel, the Mummy Scorpion King.
Right.
The Scorpion King. There's a difference. There's a big difference between the two.
All right, we got 8 picks. Let's get into this draft.
Yep.
Movie Propcast prop draft for The Mummy. Tyler, you nominated this film. You get to go first. Thank goodness. There's a lot of good ones. I did not take the time to actually rank them because it was so tight. So I'm just winging it, man. I have my list. I feel good about the first few picks, but like the end is gonna get strange. So we'll see.
I feel good about every pick. So
okay, well that's confidence. You like to see it, folks. Go ahead and wow us with your confidence.
So my first pick, I was nervous because I thought for a minute it wasn't in this movie, and I was like, "Oh man!" For a minute I thought it was in the second movie and not in this movie. But my first pick is going to be the Golden Book of Amun-Ra.
Ooh, okay.
Even so, it wasn't in the entire movie. Like I said earlier, they were looking for the Black Book of the Dead. But when you buy, I don't know if you have the steel book. I see you have the movie up in the back. If you have the steel book of this movie, the steel book is actually the Golden Book of Amun-Ra, and I was like, all right, it's a big deal to me. I like it.
No, that is pretty sweet. And honestly, it is definitely the most visual appealing book out of the two, because it's literally shiny gold, right? It's going to look awesome in any collection. Having that would be amazing. I think that's a pretty solid pick. The one downfall of it, I think, is the screen time, right? Like, obviously, it's integral part to ending and solving the issues that arise in the film. But screen time wise, that puppy just kind of appeared and saved the day, and that was it. That was the wrap. But a solid first pick, right? I kind of figured the books would be one of the first few to go. Which is probably, I don't want to tip my hand on my next pick, but I have to pick the other one, right? Like, it would be stupid for me not to. It's, again, the whole point of the film are these powerful books, and there are other things involved, but I'm maybe we'll get into those. But the Black Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
I told my wife when I was making the list, I was like, what do you think's the top prop? Like, I always ask, and I'm seeing, like, what do you think? Like, here's the list. We watched the movie together. I was like, it'd be pretty sweet to have the Black Book of the Dead. She's like, yeah, it'd be awesome, but I wouldn't do it. I certainly wouldn't want that in my house. She's like, I don't want that in my house. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she's kind of right. Like, that is some bad juju. I know it's just a movie prop, right? We're not like we're actually diving into the universe and taking that actual thing. It's still a movie prop. I know, it'd be crazy, right? But yeah, I mean, the Black Book of the Dead, it's a very important, arguably the most important book. I mean, without that book, we don't have this movie. Right? You know what I mean? Like that's what kickstarts everything and causes all the issues. What's funny is that they finally get it open, right? Like in the middle of the night, they decided that was the best time to get it open. And she's just instantly like, let me just start reading this ancient mummy, you know what I mean? Egyptian scripture. Why? What are you doing? And out loud too. You couldn't just like think of it. You couldn't just like, oh, what is this? Oh, I shouldn't be reading this. Like just a couple lines in your head. You're like, oh, maybe I don't say this out loud. Immediately goes to chanting. She's like, let me just go. Let me just do this dirty thing.
Just read ahead, realize what you're reading, and then maybe go back and say it out loud. You don't say it out loud right away. You literally damned them all.
Yes. Yeah. But, I mean, we got a good movie out of it, so kudos to Evelyn. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for messing up.
So you got pick 3. Your second pick. Go ahead.
So this was actually lower down on my list, and as I'm sitting here staring at it, I realize I would like them a lot more. I'm going to go with Anaxinamun's organ jars.
Ooh, okay. That's good. That's that. I mean, I don't have it ranked, but that's pretty high on my list. Obviously, that's another integral part of obviously the resurrection. But yeah, you do get all 5. It's the complete set. You don't have to pick one individually.
Thank you so much.
That's a good pick.
They as opposed to the Golden Book of Amun-Ra, they have the screen time, they have presence, they were a driving force of the plot, and they just look cool. They each had a different animal on them, so I was pretty happy with that.
Yes, I wrote that down as the 5 sacred canopic jars, is what they called them in the movie. That's what they said in the movie. Listen, I'm just the messenger, so... no, that's a good pick. Now, this is when it gets a little weird, right? So... I think I have to go with it, especially now considering what my first pick is. It'd be stupid for me not to pick what unlocks it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it'd be really dumb, right? So that little thing, they find it, obviously, in the beginning of the film, and like you said, they're talking to the guy with the map and that whole whatever. They have the key. I forget what his name is. Jonathan has the key. I don't know how he got it. I don't even think he knows how he got it.
He stole it off of Rick.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, he swiped it off of him initially? Oh, yeah. I remember him saying he stole it. I didn't know that he got it from Rick. So yeah, okay, that's a pretty douchey move. But yeah, I'm gonna take the key. It's to Imhotep's sarcophagus, but it's also to the Book of the Dead, right? So that's my first.
It was the key to everything.
Yeah, anything you needed something open in the movie, a can, something, anything. The key. The key is what I'm just going to say. So I'll take that. And it is a cool design, right? So it does fold up. And you just hit a little button and just kind of, flicks out. I'm doing hand motions on a podcast. You can't really, unless you're watching it, you don't even know what I'm doing. But I thought that was a really cool looking thing that just could stand alone. And you could see that and be like, oh yeah. Because it did get enough screen time. Pretty much every character had a hand on that thing in this film. Yeah. But it's pretty cool. I thought it was it did a lot. So I'm happy with my selection.
I had that as number 2 on my list. It's funny what happens when you get in the draft. That was number 2 on my list, and I ended up picking the number 5 on my list second.
Hey man, you got to get your guy. You got to get your picks.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
You got to just jump around if you have to. So this is my 3rd pick, correct?
Yep, 3rd pick, 5th pick overall.
There's a lot of good stuff. So we started this movie, and my wife was like, I don't know if there's a lot of good stuff. And then things just started popping up, and it was like, there was
a lot
actually
quick. And I was like, man, am I gonna have to get another piece of paper? Like, this is crazy.
All right. So to go back to something I haven't done in quite a while. No, I'm not gonna.
I feel like I already know what you're doing, right?
No, I'm gonna go with. They are called Camelot Delving Model 1873 Revolver. I'm going to go with Rick O'Connell's.
Whose guns are that? Is that Rick O'Connell's dual pistols?
Rick O'Connell's dual pistols.
Okay, that's good. I did write those down, too. I didn't know they had a name. You went above and beyond. You did your homework. But, yeah.
I learned the other day that there is an IMDb for firearms. Is IMF IMFD. Wait. Yeah,
what?
IMFD.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the Internet Movie Firearms Database.
That is pretty interesting. I didn't even know that existed, but yeah, I have to check that out. That's strange.
It's actually really cool. So it goes down, and per movie, it'll give you every weapon, who used them, how accurate they are to the time, and yeah. So
here's what I'm gonna do, because I'm a generous guy, right? I'm gonna also give you the little chest belt, like, you know what I mean? It has to come with the belt, right? Like the leather.
So early on, Alyssa was like, "Oh, you should take his outfit," but it was his French outfit at the beginning of the movie, and I was like, "No, if I'm taking an outfit, it's the white shirt with the brown gun holsters, because that's just iconic." Like, if I think of Brendan
those leather
Fraser,
straps, awesome.
Yeah, if I think of Brendan Fraser, he is in a white button up with leather straps, or he's George of the Jungle. It's one of the two. That's it.
Right. And how cool is it? I mean, I almost want to just get that little, like, the little over-the-shoulder strap, and I don't care what. I'll put TV remotes in it and walk around my house. I don't care. It looks cool. The fact that you can just be like, let me check my utilities slot here, and oh yes, I'll change the channel for you. No, you just look cool, right?
Thank you for that. I appreciate.
Not you. I'm just saying, you know, people who wear it. Not you. I don't know how it would look on you. It might be different on you, but
it's a little awkward now.
Anyway, moving on. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, you got the dual pistols. I actually did write that down, and I did write down with the leather strap. So I was gonna get greedy. I was gonna be like, I want it all. But there were a couple cool things in this movie that I thought, like, really, as I dropped my microphone, really stood out. But they also didn't really impact the movie in any way, right? But there were some background items. Maybe we'll get to those. I don't want to draft them, right? I can't.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get to those afterwards.
Way.
We'll get to those a little bit afterwards. But, oh, man. I think I have to go with this because it was, again, an integral part of the movie and kind of what sparks the interest to even go there. Yeah. And you even mentioned it. I'm taking the burned map of Hamunaptra.
Yep.
I want the map.
That was going to be my last pick. I like it.
I want that little singeing on it, you know, for theatrical effect. But
it
did look cool. Even after it got burned, it looked really cool. I think it's still.
And the cool thing is, you could fold it up and put it inside the key if you really wanted.
Yeah, where it is. Look, I'm just like, everything's chaining for me, right? Like, everything just works. So I think everything can just sit and you'll see it. And I think I own, like, the entire movie, The Mummy, at this point. So it's looking pretty good. My shelf is looking nice right now. All right,
your shelf,
solid.
That is a nice shelf. I'm torn between two things.
This is the last pick. Yeah, you only get one, so you better.
I know I only get one, and either way, I'm a winner regardless. You know, there was a time when we started this podcast that this was supposed to spark some type of rivalry where one of us won. And I feel like we got away from that.
I don't think this is episode to bring that back for you specifically, because I'm thinking if we did this, it'd be an L for you this week. I don't know. But I hear what you're saying. I do want to do that. I think that's something we'll look forward to in the future. I think we'll definitely be doing that. I made the top prop list. That was our thing, was we're trying to, every episode we wanted to see what items from these movies made it to our all-time top prop list, which is every movie we've ever done. The best props from every movie we've ever done, and the rankings obviously will shift. Turns out it's quite the upkeep to update that every single episode. But I should get back on it. I want to freshen that thing up so we can stay on it. So we will have the top prop list coming soon at the Movie Propcast on Instagram and TikTok. But yeah, I think it would be fun to do like a poll, right? Like, just put up both of our lists. Like, it's almost like a fantasy football draft. Whose team's better, right? One of those things, and you just say team A, team B, and I think that's something we could definitely look forward to. I will, for your sake, though, I won't do it this week because
I don't know. You're confident, but I got gold, baby.
All right,
I got gold.
You're right. It would look good. But anyway, your last pick, as you were.
So I'm torn between two things, but one thing sticks out significantly more than the other when you think of the Mummy. I want those jewel-encrusted scarabs.
Son of a bee, you son of a bee. That was my holy trinity. I wanted that. Like, I almost did it over the map, but I knew that the map was but it had to get picked. It meant more, but the scarab, I freaking love scarabs. I think they're awesome. Beetles are awesome to me. I think they're, like, really cool. And yeah, oh my God, I'm mad. I'm upset. Anyway,
that's
go
what
on.
I wanted. That's what I wanted.
You just wanted to make me mad. Now I'm lost. I'm lost.
You're in the desert. You're on an island right now.
Yeah.
No, they like if I think of the Mummy, I think of Brendan Fraser, I think of scarabs, and I think of like the mummy's face in the sand. Like those are just the three things, and so I'm happy.
So it was like a blue gold, the blue goldish like
little
scarabs. Yeah. They were plucking them out of the walls.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good pick.
Thank you.
I will.
So about that L.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, it's a little closer now. Now I really need to nail this last pick, and it's tough because, oh man, I got to cross off blue gold scarab.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
So now the stuff that's left isn't quite as meaningful. Here's what I'm not going to pick, all right? You want to go down the list and just see what I'm not picking? Well, because that takes away from the fun afterwards of just saying things. So I'll just have to pick it because now I guess it does. It's big. It's pretty big.
It was going to be my second pick. I already know where you're going.
Do you?
I think
I'm going to take Imhotep's sarcophagus.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
And the funny thing is, when I'm watching the movie, I'm like, Doyle's going to take the sarcophagus and put it right up next to the Fifth Element sarcophagus.
Yeah, I'm just taking them all, baby. Yeah, this is it. You see a sarcophagus, it's mine. No, that is, it's, again, it falls right in line with the whole point of the movie. Obviously, Imhotep gets, not mummified, but he freaking gets mauled in there by a bunch of scarabs. And they open it, right? I have the key, I have the book, I have the sarcophagus. That's the holy trinity of the film, right? And then I have the map. But I'm not pleading my case right now. I'm just saying, I just think the synergy with my team right now, like we have the built-in chemistry. We can win the championship with this team.
You have the chemistry to revive Imhotep.
You got the flashy, all right?
I got the flashy, and you're on a mission to revive the guy who's going to try to kill us all. Good job.
Okay, honestly, yeah, it does look a little weird when you look at my list. I'm like, we can just bring him back, guys. And then I get all these props, right? They're all just movie props, and I'm just in my room just chanting. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It does look a little weird.
That's exactly what you got. You got the black book.
My wife is going to be pissed. I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. She doesn't want me near her. Okay, so let's recap the draft real quick before we get into the leftovers of the props in this film. So you right out the gate picked the Gold Book of Amun-Ra. I then followed it up with the Black Book of the Dead. So just 2 books right out the gate. I honestly I expected that to be the case. I just wasn't sure where you're going to go first. You did pick the shinier stuff, so you're more of the bling guy. You want the flashy stuff.
Yes.
And then you came back and then got the not so flashy. Well, wait a minute. The 5 sacred canopic jars, they had some gold trimming, I think. Yeah, they were still
They did. They
were still kind of flat. I like to think that was like some sort of ivory. Like
they were
elephant.
elegant.
Yeah, they were beautiful. I took the key to the Book of the Dead and the sarcophagus. The key, it was just the key, right? The key that opened up everything in the film. You followed up with Rick O'Connell's dual pistols. I think that falls under flashy, right? The flashy, shiny, silver, bang bang guns in the film. They were on my list. They were pretty high. It's just the way the draft board fell, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it just happened, man.
It's weird how like we did just fall into that. Like, I don't know. I couldn't pass these. These were just good values. I wound up at 6. I think this is a pretty good steal at 6. Was the map of Hamunaptra, the one
really
that got burned. That's a good steal.
I was going to go there last, to be honest. So
arguably a better steal, if not similar, is the 7th overall pick. You get the blue gold scarab because I'm mad about that. Like I really thought that was. I don't know why I shouldn't have thought that, but I just thought that might be off your radar. Like the way you were drafting, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to be okay. I'll get this in the last round.
Swerve.
You scooped it up. That's a good pick. And then I finished it off with just another giant sarcophagus. If you go back to the Fifth Element, I wound up picking the sarcophagus in that movie as well. So yeah, I'm a big sarcophagus guy. Apparently, I just like good sleep. You know, you sleep really well in them. Yeah. But Imhotep's sarcophagus. That'll wrap up the draft. So leftovers, real quick. We can get to those before we wrap up. What do you got?
So I've got the golden blade, the Pharaoh's golden blade. They don't make a big deal about it, but early on when he's going to kill Anaxunamun, he pulls out a golden sword, and then later on Rick O'Connell actually uses it against the mummies. Yes. So the Pharaoh's specific golden blade, I like that a lot. I also
real quick, I want to cut you off there because I'm a jerk. The gold sword, he has a large gold sword at the end, like you said, when he's fighting them. Is that the same one as Imhotep's dagger? Because Imhotep's dagger is a little smaller. Like Imhotep, the one he was using to sacrifice and like try to kill and everything. You know what I mean?
I think I thought it was Seti's sword. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Seti's
they're definitely different. Yeah, they're different. Yeah, the sword is bigger. The Imhotep's dagger, which is also on my list. Well, the one he's literally about to stab Evelyn right in the stomach. There's got to be a quicker way to do that, right? Like just, I don't know. It seems weird, but I guess the blood had to spill. But anyway, continue. What else is on your list?
I had the like scythe blades, the sickle blades that not only did the mummy soldiers use, but Ardeth's men used. They just had those big half moon crescent swords.
Yeah,
but those are cool.
Right. Those are sweet.
And I had Imhotep's Anubis statue, the one that saved Brendan Fraser's life.
Is that you're talking about the massive one?
Yeah. The Anubis,
extremely massive, like you need like an acre of land to put that.
Well, okay, there's a specific reason I want it, because when you walk through the mummy ride and you go upstairs, they have a giant Anubis that they're like hauling out of an archaeological site.
That
is.
I
was like,
cool.
that'd be cool if they actually had that. And then they showed it in the movie, and I was like, oh my god, it's a prop.
Yeah,
so
that is pretty sweet. Well, you know what's cool, and I've mentioned this before. We keep talking about Universal. They actually have a prop store in Universal that you can go into, but it's the props from their ride. So when they dismantled like Jurassic Park, there was like freaking dinosaur heads in there. And granted, they're thousands and thousands of dollars, but they're original pieces from the rides that they dismantle. If they ever break down the Mummy, A, oh my God, I'm livid. Yes. I'm livid. I'm disgusted, and I want to throw up. B, I'm buying every scarab in the whole world. It's mine. I want the one the hand. I want the hand, the one everyone puts their hand on.
And
I'll clean it up a little bit. Yeah, I'll clean it up a little bit, but yeah, I want that one.
Like, people think we're harping on it. You have to go on this ride. The ambiance is incredible. It's so good. And then I had the yellow convertible that they drove throughout the movie.
You're a big car guy, yeah.
I am. And then I had the white plane that they crashed in the desert.
Yes. I will say one thing about that. And, his name was Winston, their pilot. The dude got done dirty, all right? He
went out the way he wanted to. He was excited. He didn't get done dirty.
It just seemed weird that like they're like, "Hey, fly us over here, buddy," and he just gets sucked up in a sand hole. Like,
the entire movie, Winston wanted one last hurrah. He wanted to prove that he was an adventurer and a man's man, and this was his chance. He was like, "I'm saddling up. This is my final ride, baby," and he went out.
So he got it. He got it.
Yeah, he got it.
Final ride right into the friggin' the abyss. Okay, speaking of Winston, his gramophone. Dude had a shiny gold gramophone in the background. I don't know why that resonated with me. I was like, that's pretty sweet. Just who's got one of those laying around? I want one of those. That was on my list. I mentioned the gold dagger, and the last one real quick. Imhotep's skeleton, when it initially pops out, that's a good
pick. I didn't think about that.
That's too far for me. I don't know if I'd go that far where I actually want the actual skeleton. That's weird.
You could
swap
the sarcophagus.
It's totally normal.
No, swap the map out for the sarcophagus, and you're set.
And I can just recreate the movie where I just put the key in, twist it, open it, pop up the skeleton.
Well, you have to twist the key, open the book, and then open the sarcophagus. Yeah. But you got it. You're good.
Yeah. No, those are my runner-ups. I mean, there's like you said, there's a lot in this movie, and I think again for 1999, 1998 when they were filming. They did a really good job. I mean, there's a reason why we're still watching it to this day and still enjoying it. There's a reason why you've watched it 900 times. I have the. I mean, obviously the ride kind of helps too. It's another little added bonus, but it does kind of feel like you're riding the ride if you just sit and watch the movie. It gives those the memories there. But my wife loves this movie too. She kind of really got me into the Mummy. Like I had not seen all the Mummies until. She was like, "Oh no, you got to watch these." And we got the collection and we watched every one of them. And I was like, "Okay, some of them are bad, but no, they're good. Like they're fun."
Yeah,
I think the franchise as a whole is good, and that's what terrifies me about the new one that I have yet to see. And we will at some point, but we just haven't got to that point yet. But anyway, I guess any closing remarks on the Mummy, real quick?
There is not a woman in Egypt who looked like a Nox in the Moon because she was incredible. That was a flat out lie.
There's a reason why, There's a reason why he risked it for the biscuit.
That was a flat out lie.
Yeah, there's a reason there was a smudge on that arm, and he just went for it. Old Billy Zane knockoff. He went for it.
Old not Billy Zane. But no, it's a great movie. Everyone needs to watch it. It's a classic.
Yeah, for sure. Classic. It's peak Brendan Fraser, and I think the world deserves more of that. So if you need to go back in time to get it, which I think is also one of his movies, Back in Time. Is it Back in Time? I don't know what it is. There was one where he was
Encino Man?
No, well, there's Encino Man, and then there's one where he's like in a bomb shelter.
Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past. Oh, yeah, Back in Time, same thing. But yeah, those movies were weird. He wasn't afraid to take a weird movie, which I think it actually fit him because he was just genuinely like just a weird dude, but in a good way, like a funny, weird dude. And we're talking about him like he's dead. He's not. He's still alive. No. But it is weird to have somebody like that disappear for as long as he did and resurface. But fans love him. We love him. The movie's good. And that, I guess that's it, right? We're done here. We can knock it in. I
believe so. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. We'll see you guys next time. And again, stay tuned at the Movie Propcast on Instagram. I think we're going to be doing a lot of our polls and doing some things like that where we can try to get some interactive voting and things going on. We want more interaction to see I want to know what you guys want us to do, because we want to venture off our very, very narrow window of movies, which we do. Our future movies will bounce around a little bit more, a little more modern, but we're excited.
They did
about
for
the
a little bit there. It's just
we tickled the 2000s. Yeah, we were in there for a bit.
I think the trouble that we have is there's a line now where a lot of things are CGI'd and it's difficult. We're trying to make sure we grab physical props. So it's
this
hard
is
to
peak physical prop time. Yes, exactly. I will say real quick, the one, I don't know, the one that I want the most in the future, and the reason why we haven't done it yet, Jurassic Park is coming. All right, I will tell you, it's my favorite movie of all time, and I'm hyping it up like it's going to be something. I want it to be big. All right, it's got to be big for us. It's got to be big for the show, and it's going to be fun. I think I'm going to make sure something big happens for that episode. So stay tuned for that.
I'm just going to say, Doyle, we're about 7 months in.
Shh, so don't worry about it.
I'm just saying.
You're saying 1 year extravaganza, bonanza?
I'm just saying it's not that long of a wait if you want to do it that way.
All right. I'm gonna get
It's either that, it could be our first in-person podcast.
It could be. It could be. We could get Sam Neill to come on and talk about it.
Yes. Can we get Jeff Goldblum? Oh my God, I would love to get Jeff Goldblum.
He's unattainable. What
do you mean?
He's
I don't
beyond.
Think so.
Like, you could get the president, I think, before you could get. I don't know.
Jeff Goldblum is relaxing right now. He's resting on his laurels.
He's like, you got a podcast. I'll do the podcast. Yeah. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. We'll catch you guys on the future episode of the Movie Propcast. See you later.
Yeah, love you guys.
Love you. Bye.